Here is the first food. Write it down before I explain anything, because it is the one most people your age are told to fear, and that advice is out of date. Eggs. For 30 years, older adults were warned away from them over cholesterol. That warning has been walked back. The current dietary guidelines no longer set a daily cholesterol limit, and for most people, the cholesterol in eggs has far less effect on your blood than we once believed. So here is what an egg actually gives you, and why it matters more at 70 than it did at 40. One large egg carries about 6 grams of protein and, more importantly, a substance called leucine. Leucine is the switch that tells aging muscle to repair itself. After 60, that switch gets harder to flip, and eggs press on it harder than almost anything else on your plate. An egg also carries choline, which supports nerve and muscle communication. Most older adults in this country do not get enough of it, and eggs are one of the richest sources there is. And they carry vitamin B12 in a form your body absorbs easily, which becomes critical as your stomach produces less acid with age. 2 eggs at breakfast is a reasonable habit for most healthy older adults. If a doctor has told you that you have a specific cholesterol disorder, that is a conversation for the two of you. For everyone else, the fear was aimed at the wrong food. That is one. Here is the second, and this one comes with a warning I want you to hear clearly. Fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel. The reason it earns a place is not the reason you have been told. For years, you have heard that fish oil protects your brain and your memory. I have to be honest with you about that, because you deserve honesty more than you deserve a comforting story. The evidence on fish oil and memory is a mess. A large, careful 2-year study of older adults at risk of Alzheimer's, published this year, found that high-dose omega-3 did not improve memory or slow brain decline at all. Some studies have even raised concerns. So if anyone is selling you fish oil pills to save your memory, keep your money. But that is fish oil pills. Fatty fish, the actual food, still earns its place. And here is why. The evidence for your heart is strong. Every major cardiology guideline points the same way, and 2 or 3 servings of oily fish a week is where they land. And there is a quieter reason. Vitamin D. Your skin becomes far less able to make vitamin D from sunlight as you age, less than half as efficient at 70 as at 20. And vitamin D is what lets you absorb calcium at all. Fatty fish is one of the very few foods that carries meaningful vitamin D naturally. Canned sardines are the smart version of this. They cost less than a coffee, and eaten with the soft bones, they give you calcium that a fillet does not. One warning. If you take a blood thinner, tell your doctor before you make a big change in how much fish or fish oil you eat. Not because it is dangerous, but because it is worth their knowing. That is 2. The third is the one nobody puts on a list like this, and it may be the most important of all. Extra virgin olive oil. I know it sounds too simple. Stay with me, because this one has the strongest evidence of anything I will tell you today. A review of 40 controlled trials found that a Mediterranean eating pattern built around extra virgin olive oil reduced heart attacks, strokes, and death compared with a low-fat diet. Not a supplement, not a pill. Cooking oil, the largest of those trials, gave people extra virgin olive oil directly and measured fewer cardiovascular events. The reason sits in your gut. Extra virgin olive oil feeds the beneficial bacteria in your intestine, and that bacterial population thins out and loses diversity as you age. A study published this year even linked virgin olive oil to slower cognitive decline in older adults, working through those same gut changes. That link is newer and less certain than the heart evidence, so I hold it more loosely. But the heart evidence is as solid as nutrition science gets. The instruction is simple. Use it as your main fat, on vegetables, on bread, off the spoon if you like. Extra virgin, not light or refined, because the protective compounds live in the unrefined oil. That is 3, and it may be the single most useful thing on this list. If it was news to you, take 1 second to subscribe so the next one of these finds you. I make them every week, only for people over 60. Number 4 is about a problem most people over 60 deal with and almost nobody wants to discuss: beans and lentils. Constipation becomes far more common after 60. Slower digestion, less water, and medications that dry you out. Fiber is the direct answer, and beans carry more of it per serving than almost anything you can buy. But fiber is only the beginning. Beans are one of the strongest sources of potassium on the shelf. And blood pressure is not only about cutting salt. It is about the balance between salt and potassium. And most older adults get far too little potassium. Beans also give you plant protein with no saturated fat, and they release their energy slowly, which matters as your body handles sugar less easily with age. One honest note: if beans have caused you discomfort before, the problem was almost always how fast they were added. Start with a quarter cup. Rinse canned beans well, which also washes away much of the added salt. Give it 2 weeks and your gut adjusts. That is 4. And the 5th is the one that ties the whole list together: berries. Blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. Here the evidence is genuinely encouraging. And I can tell you where it is strong and where it is still forming. More than 30 controlled trials pooled together found that the compounds in berries, the anthocyanins that give them their deep color, improve blood pressure compared with a control. That is a real finding, not a health food slogan. Those same compounds are being studied for memory and blood flow to the brain. And some short studies in older adults have shown improvement in recall within hours of eating them. That memory research is younger and less settled than the blood pressure evidence, so I offer it as promising, not proven. What makes berries the right ending to this list is what they are not. They are sweet, but they are low in sugar compared with most fruit, and they come wrapped in fiber that slows that sugar down. They are the dessert you are allowed to have. Frozen berries carry the same compounds as fresh at a fraction of the price. There is no penalty for buying the bag in the freezer aisle. So there is your list: eggs, fatty fish, extra virgin olive oil, beans and lentils, and berries. Now let me tell you the one thing that matters more than any single item on it. Notice what these 5 foods are not. Not a supplement, not a powder, not anything with a health claim printed on the box. They are ordinary food, most of it already in your kitchen. And the reason they work is not magic. It is that each one does something your body specifically needs more help with after 60. Muscle repair, vitamin D, a healthy gut, fiber and potassium, blood pressure. And I told you honestly, along the way, where the science is rock solid and where it is still forming. Because a channel that promises you certainty about everything is a channel that is lying to you about something. The olive oil and the eggs, the evidence is strong. The berry memory research, promising but young. You deserve to know the difference. You do not need all five every day. Start with one. Put 2 eggs on your breakfast plate tomorrow morning, where most people over 60 eat almost no protein at all. That single change is enough to begin. If you have a kidney condition, or you take a blood thinner, or you are on any medication you are unsure about, run these past the doctor who knows your history before making a big change. For most of you, though, this is simply good food doing what good food does. And if you are still with me at the end, you are exactly the person I make these for. Subscribe, and the next one will come to you. The studies I mentioned today are named in the description below, so you can read them yourself or take them to your own doctor. Tell me in the comments which of these 5 is already on your table. I read everyone. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Dr. Samuel Hart is an AI health educator. This channel provides educational content only and does not provide medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always speak with a qualified healthcare professional before making changes to your diet, your supplements, your medications, or your activity level.